Hi, I'm Bob Lynn, and welcome to an actual criticism of Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, if you like this film, I would suggest clicking off this video, perhaps going to one of those other critiques, because I did not like this film. I was insulted by this film because, it was a story I heard long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, circa 1977. It was a blatant ripoff of Star Wars: A New Hope, and they tried to repackage this in new main villain, new character, new big Death Star. It was the same story. There was a droid on a mission, meets an unknowing apprentice. They both meet an old man, tells them about the Force. They find themselves on the Death Star 2.0, and they blow it up because it has an obvious flaw that no one decided to think, well, maybe we should fix that. That was the premise of this movie. While, they have a new character in Stormtrooper actually has a personality, but it wasn't at all unique. The creative output in this movie was basically what is going to make us the most money. This movie was basically a Ponzi scheme. With Star Wars, they had the opportunity to do something special. The reason why the original Star Wars trilogy was so good and so revolutionary was because it was something no one ever saw. It was an original idea. They had the opportunity to do something special, do something that no one's ever seen before. What do? They play it safe. They play it close to the chest. It was almost as if the executives that funded the film were the ones who wrote it. The Force Awakens should just be a new hope because, it's symbolically a new hope for the Star Wars series. And that's really what it was. I mean, you have this new villain, Kylo Ren, who perfectly personifies that point as well. He so desperately wants to be Darth Vader, and he's not. Everyone knows he's not. You can put on the mask. You're not Darth Vader. You will never be Darth Vader. Why are you trying to be the same thing that you already were? You could have been something different, and they didn't. Kylo Ren is not interesting. He is not intimidating, and some people have said that he is what Anakin should have been, and he might have been, but he's not Anakin. He's Kylo Ren, and now he's on par with a rebellious teen who just wants to be on the dark side just to get back at his parents. You have all these unanswered questions, and not in the way that they're good unanswered questions. Like in A New Hope, there are unanswered questions. You had curiosities. It wasn't deliberate. It was just because it was a rich and powerful story. And I am by no means original Star Wars purist. I'm not. I'm just getting to the point of story and plot and character development that this movie clearly did not have. This movie had these stupid questions like, why did Kylo Ren join the dark side? Who gives a shit? And who is Snoke? Questions like he's taking up the mantle of the old Sith, and for the point of this movie, there's no reason to even have him in there. He doesn't serve a purpose other than to take you to the next movie. That's his purpose. And honestly, he seems like in a parallel universe, he's Zordon helping the Power Rangers fight off Ivan Ooze. His presence in this movie and Kylo Ren, why he went to the dark side, are both questions just so that you can throw it into the next movie. And then at the end here, the best part of this movie, and there's not a lot of good parts. The best part of this movie is, on whole, the humor. And it's something that, you didn't have in the original Star Wars. You didn't have in the prequels. Like, the prequels weren't funny. They were just upsetting and just insulting in whole other different ways. But this had humor that, was funny. And it wasn't just funny to nostalgia people who have seen Star Wars. It was funny to people who didn't know Star Wars very well. It was funny in a wide variety of different, every character was, in its respect, funny. But when you have humor in an action adventure movie that surpasses every other aspect of this movie, it becomes a parody of itself. And at the end of the day, they could have done something special. They could have made the stormtroopers actually intimidating. They didn't have to hit everything, but they could have winged a few people. It was just, they made it into a parody of itself. And at the end of the day, that was just terrible. That's like the best worst thing they could have done with this series. And if you think about it, Kylo Ren being this rebellious teen kind of fits into the comedy. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's kind of what they achieved. This whole Death Star 2.0 thing, I can't get into this. So they were building this for 30 years. That's a whole planet. That's a planet. That's a planet. It's a whole. That's not a Sears Tower. That's a whole. That's not just a city. That's a whole planet devoted to this weapon. It's like they have some kind of Texas complex. Bigger is better. Clearly not. 2 Death Stars were destroyed. Why do you think a bigger Death Star wouldn't be just as easily destroyed? That whole idiotic thing is just the way they tried to make it more impressive than it was. They tried to fool you into thinking this was something different. It wasn't. Don't be fooled. This was bullshit. This is Bob Lynn saying, have a good week.